For over a century, indigenous communities, naturalists, and explorers traveling deep into the Amazon have returned with nearly identical stories. They reported encounters with anacondas reaching impossible lengths, snakes measuring 10, 12, or even 18 meters long. The fascination with these massive reptiles reached such a peak that around 1910, former U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt offered a $50,000 reward to anyone who could capture a 10-meter snake and deliver it alive. Yet, despite a massive financial bounty and more than a century of technological advancement since, nobody has ever collected that money. When we look at the verified scientific record, the scale drops significantly. The absolute largest, clearly documented modern anacondas max out around 6 to 8 meters in length. The gap between these historical reports and our modern data is immense. It forces us to consider whether centuries of observers were consistently wrong, or if something about the Amazon's environment is systematically preventing us from finding the proof. To understand what is physically possible in this environment, we need to go back roughly 60 million years to the Paleocene epoch. The ancient Amazon rainforest was a massive wetland system that supported extraordinary animal growth. It was here that a predator named Titanoboa hunted. This was a scientifically verified snake that reached 15 meters in length and weighed over a metric ton. The region clearly has a historical precedent for producing snakes of mythical proportions. Unlike mammals, reptiles exhibit indeterminate growth. They never completely stop growing. If an anaconda finds food, it keeps adding mass. To solve the crushing stress of gravity, their aquatic lifestyle provides buoyancy, removing the physical limits imposed on land animals. When you combine a vast food supply, a lifespan of indeterminate growth, and a supportive aquatic environment, there is no strict biological or physical barrier preventing a modern anaconda from reaching the extreme sizes reported in local accounts. So, if the biology checks out, why can't we just locate one of these giants and photograph them from a boat or drone? In 2025, researchers attached radio transmitters to wild anacondas, giving scientists their exact locations at all times. Yet, even when standing directly on top of the GPS coordinates, the snakes were completely hidden from sight 83% of the time, buried under dense leaf litter, tucked inside submerged root systems, or resting in murky, zero-visibility water. Now, multiply that extreme elusiveness by the sheer scale of the landscape. Large parts of the forest flood annually, creating a submerged labyrinth covering nearly 7 million square kilometers, an area roughly the size of the entire United States. The rainforest acts as a flawless optical illusion. It is an ecosystem uniquely calibrated to conceal apex predators from human eyes, no matter how large they get. Still, a hidden animal eventually dies. If giant snakes have lived and died here, we should expect to find enormous skeletons scattered across the jungle floor. The problem is that tropical rainforests are highly effective biological incinerators. The combination of intense heat, perpetual moisture, and highly acidic soils will rapidly dissolve the bone of almost any animal that falls to the forest floor, destroying all evidence of its existence. In fact, the only reason we have physical proof that the 15-meter Titanoboa ever existed is due to a rare geological anomaly. The dead snakes happened to fall into an environment where sediments buried their remains instantly, protecting them before the jungle could rot them away. And even then, those fossils remained completely hidden until industrial excavators ripped the earth open to dig a massive open-pit coal mine in northern Colombia. Unless the earth is deeply excavated, the jungle aggressively erases its own history. The environment ensures that its dead leave no physical ledger behind. When we factor in these variables, our skepticism requires a slight adjustment. We are looking at a biome uniquely designed to support biological giants, perfectly structured to hide them while alive, and chemically programmed to delete them when dead. Here, an absence of evidence is not necessarily evidence of absence. The detailed accounts recorded by indigenous peoples and credible naturalists in the 19th century shouldn't be casually dismissed simply because the jungle swallowed the proof before a camera could capture it. This enduring mystery reflects the staggering, untamed power of the Amazon itself. In an era where humanity feels it has mapped and cataloged the globe, the Amazon proves there are still wild places vast enough to keep a few giant secrets.